Well, there's no sense beating around the bush. Here we are. The HOLOSUN AEMS, or the Advanced Enclosed Microsite. I guess they decided to go away from their numerical system, the 400, the 500 series, and go with something like the AEMS, which makes sense in a way because, well, I'm just going to bring this in right now. I always confuse the 512, this model, with the 510. For whatever reason, my brain just can't process the two numbers and decipher which one's which until I actually look at them. It's just the way it is. Anyway, this is a fairly interesting optic that we're going to touch on most of the reasons why in this video. But as always, let's dissect from the outside in and see if it's worth its $400 price tag. The box is typical HOLOSUN. There's all the information you are going to need to know, and it's fantastic. I wish most manufacturers would, of course, make their boxes as smartly packed as HOLOSUN does. Because let's say you were to buy this and sell it, whatever, okay? It happens. To box this up and ship this out isn't going to cost that much because the box is going to be really small. I sold my SIG T6 3-18 to fund this optic, and that box was huge, and to ship it cost almost $70. So, needless to say, I appreciate when optics manufacturers make a box that's just the right size for the optic that's inside. As is typical with HOLOSUNs, you have this beautiful hard plastic case with all the information you were going to need to know. I'm not going to open this because there's nothing we're really going to learn from this that we don't already know from other such HOLOSUN optics that we've looked at in the past. If you haven't seen any of those videos, I implore you to go check them out because there's a lot of good information on all of them. I got to admit, I'm a little apprehensive. Why? The 509T. I was really hoping that thing would be a little bit better than what it was. And yeah, I caught a lot of flack from the pistol community on that thing. Oh, you don't know how the optic's supposed to work. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, it's supposed to have some little magnification. I'll put it to you like this. The 509T is like ordering a glass of milk and receiving chunky milk. It's technically milk, but do you really want to swallow that and say, oh, this is good? It's not. I'm sorry. It wasn't just the magnification of it, it was the distortion. And not just the distortion, it was the uneven distortion. At the bottom of that, it was perfectly fine. Then it got worse in the middle and atrocious up at top. So I'm kind of apprehensive to see if this is going to be more like that or more like this. The 512 is something that I really love. I think HOLOSUN hit this 100% on the head. And now these have become readily available again for around $300. So, is this worth $100 more than this? That's going to be my main question. I'm always curious to see if companies can squeeze a little bit more out of their stuff to make it that much better. The first thing you're going to notice, and this took me by surprise, is how small and how lightweight this thing is. I usually save this for my full reviews, but just to give you an idea, they come in about 5.6 ounces, whereas the 512 comes in nearly 3 ounces heavier. So right off the bat, that's a win for this. Another nice thing, this base is removable. So you have the 4 Torx bits on the bottom. This comes off. There is a slot right here for a low profile base, which would be fantastic for me. But because I didn't find anything available for it when I purchased this, I had to deal with what I got because I'm really excited for this and I hope it does really well. And I know this video is going to be at least watched a lot. Whether it's liked a lot, if I like it or not, that's to be determined. But so far, so good. It's small and it's lightweight. Overall build looks and feels typical HOLOSUN. And if you don't know what that is, it's honestly really, really good. HOLOSUNs were just knockoff EOTechs back in the day, but they've really sort of found their groove in later years. They're just fantastic. They look and feel superb. And this is no exception. So, what do you get? Well, first off, you get all the great features of HOLOSUN optics, which is what they're known for basically. Shake awake, you have auto brightness, you have side buttons, which are a huge win because if you're running this with a magnifier, let me pull a magnifier out for you, you can see if it's behind it, you don't have to worry about trying to get behind here to push buttons. You also get the 50,000 rated hours of battery life, really nice flush mount controls. You have our left and right, our windage, and our elevation on the side, so nothing on top. Battery compartment over here, we do have another battery cover, and of course a typical tool to adjust everything that we would need to on this. And these really nice flip down see-through caps, which don't, oh, I accidentally turned it on, but I'll leave it on anyway, which don't actually, at least from what I can see, change much of the image. And they feel great. And if they break, well, they're a little hard to get on. There we go. If they break, there's two little screws right there that you can easily pop these things off and replace them, or take them off entirely and not run them. What happens if you accidentally scratch it or you hit it into a rock? You have some layer of protection there, which the 512 doesn't have. Most EOTech products don't have. And neither does, not, I wouldn't say a direct competitor to this, but the Huey UH1 Gen 2 from Vortex, which this is $100 less expensive than that and $100 more expensive than that. So this slots itself right in the middle of those two. So that's exactly where I'm expecting this thing to perform at, in between the Gen 2 Huey and the 512 Gold Dot. All right, so we have this off, and right off the bat, this is lower 1/3 co-witness setup. So if you're looking for this, you're perfectly fine. I think it's 1.63 inches. But if you're looking for anything lower than that, you are screwed until HOLOSUN comes out with more options, because this is or at least it looks to me like a proprietary mounting solution. You got 2 pins, the slot, and then the 4 screws right here. So there you have it. Just because I know someone's going to ask, what is this way without the mount? Oh, those pins come out. That's fantastic. They're not registering, so screw it. 4.2 ounces is phenomenally light. But enough about talking about this thing. Let's look through it and see if it's going to impress us or not. And here we go. Standard reticle on the HOLOSUN is fantastic. You have 3 options in this case. You have the center dot, the dot in the circle like you see here, and just the circle. So you have any combination of those 3 that you would like. Illumination is, of course, daytime bright, and I love how large the window is despite how small the body of this thing is. The proportions are very good. There is a very minor amount of tinting, which I love, but as we transverse the power lines here, you will note that at the top, I'd say 1/3 to 1/4, we do have some distortion. However, it is usually just above the actual reticle, so it's not as horrible as, again, like I said earlier, the 509T. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on this simply because this is just an unboxing and I don't want this to be 25 minutes long like most of my first-person reviews have been lately, because I just can't stop talking. I know, it's a problem, my wife says, but whatever. My main concern with this thing is distortion. Imagine, please, if you had an LPVO that the 1X was really badly fisheyed. You wouldn't be too happy with it, would you? Why wouldn't you want that exact same mindset with every sort of optic that you can have, especially on a red dot / reflex that's supposed to be really fast and intuitive? One last little Easter egg, I flipped down the caps, and as you can see, there's very little image change, which is fantastic. But that's going to conclude this unboxing. Thank you all very much for watching, and have a very Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. And a very huge thank you to all of my Patreon providers. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. If you'd like to help support the channel but don't want to join my Patreon, I completely understand. But you can still help support by using my affiliate links in the description below. Thanks again for watching.